Memos. I'm your host, Mysticraven. Alright, so back on the PlayStation. Got to play with Cal yesterday. If you guys missed the stream, I don't know if it's still there or not. But anyways, we played together. Cyrodiil, I got some footage, but there was things going on. And maybe I'll do like some of the problems. Like I got one decent bomb in, and then another one I got off a couple, and then it died. And then the other times when I would go in, my ulti wouldn't go off. All sorts of weird shit. All sorts of weird shit. And I was like, and we were talking about performance. Of course, my favorite stalker of all time showed up, and he's on PC now. So, and then he was like telling Cal one thing, and I'm like, dude, this dude stalks my real life social media. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, dude. He's like, that's scary. I'm like, yeah, dude, for real. I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. So, but today we're gonna work on our Necro healer on the PlayStation. Now, there's a lot of things I need to do. I've got this build put together, but his Undaunted needs leveled. So, we've got to do the dailies, or dungeons we haven't done, to level Undaunted. And that's kind of important. And then I've got to get 2 more sets for at least 2... to have at least 2 to 3 configurations for this healer, specifically. If I was to be an endgame, quote unquote, healer with the Necro. Healers are much... Here's the thing, and what I would like to tell people. Depending on what you're doing in content, is what you should anticipate having to fit, you know, your group or your model. The reason being, the biggest thing about it is, like, example, DPS. There's always going to be DPS builds out there, right? But does if that's different from a 4-man to a 12-man. If you're going for a 12-man, let's say you keep a primary set, could you use the secondary set as a support set for your party, amping up everybody's damage across the board? Yes. Same thing with tanks. You know, are you going to utilize the same configuration in a 4-man between your 12-mans? Probably not. I hate when people fucking do this. This is why.
Keep one of them alive. Maybe they know the
Fucking fake tanking bullshit. We also got to unlock our orb. What the fuck are you idiots doing?
I want one of their heads for a soup.
Anyways. Oh no, we got a real tank. That's bad enough. Let's do that. Let's go pause it. That's cool. I got the quest, so. But anyways, so you want to have at least a couple of different configurations between DPS, heals. Heals it doesn't get as bad. I feel tanks got probably, you know, A lot of people don't think tanks there's a lot of sets or whatever, but in actuality there is. I mean, you got to at least have, you know what, I still need to do the tank guide. You still need to do,
Here it is. Cower.
you still have to have typically different sets depending on who's got what and what type of tank you are. No way, man, for real? Okay. We're gonna be talking.
Poor Quintus.
We got our morph.
Oh, you'll have to excuse. I think our time will be better.
All right. And we still want to put the 3 bars on until we get whatever. Then we want to work the Mages Guild, but you know, you really want to have different setups for different scenarios. Have a, like, I got Worm Alarime on with Scent, and so if you're a healer, you want Scent or Symphony Blades, depending. You know who's doing what. You want, you can use Sax Heal, Jewelry, and Staff on the Necro. With, depends if you're going to use a Spell Power Cure, or if you're going to be, you know, using a, you know, sets like Hollow Fang, or, you know, so on and so forth. You just want to, what I'm saying is, have accessibility to your primary healer. On 4-mans, it's always the same thing. You want the Spell Power Cure buff, no matter how you get it. And then you want usually a support. So, like what I got here is perfect for any 4-man, from normal to vet. This will run all the way up in any 4-man setup, and it will. But now, if I'm in a trial scenario, what's my functionality? You know what I'm saying? And that's the question. Alright. I'm always looking for keys and shit. So if you're new to the game, don't get overwhelmed. Try to get a Spell Power Cure. Do it on normal. Don't think, oh, I gotta hit the vet. Do it. Listen. It takes time to get to those things, to get those achievements. The one of the things about this game is you don't have to. You know, it's not a race. Okay, it's not a race. Don't try to race to the end, and don't, you know, without, you know, taking time to enjoy what the game offers. Okay. Okay, got a couple of luck picks. Nice. If you're worried about people getting through or whatever, you gotta hit the other one. This will give me a skill point too.
In a chamber.
Alright. Oh.
I may be fragile. Please, let me examine it.
Ooh. Doom Ripper Ice Staff. Nice.
Now let's see if I can dislodge this. Something's happening.
I hope they give me time to turn in the quest. Undaunted 4.
This doesn't seem right. That was unpleasant.
We gotta get to 5 to get our...
Like a scratching sound. Oh, no. We have to get out of here.
Get out of here! Follow Thariah! I'll cover your escape!
Thank God for the tank.
The eye was had it in my hand. I can't believe the after what I just.
Alright. And we leveled up some skills. And we got the bone totem. So you get the minor protection. Usually a tank will use it. I guess I'm gonna have to leave the dungeon though. I put it on my healers depending. Because majority of tank builds don't implement the minor vulnerability. For multiple reasons. Doesn't fit on their bar. The tanks, Necro tanks can do this though, and they should. Necro tanks should implement this. It's a CC. But if you don't have Necro tanks, you don't know if you're getting a Necro tank. If you don't know you're getting a Necro tank, well, guess what you got to do? As a healer, it's your obligation to buff and debuff. It is your obligation as a healer. Not the DPS, and you don't know what you're getting. So you can do remote, but you do agony. I think the remote's cool. You know, for PvP, like there's a lot of people who do this for PvP, for pure whatever, and it's cool. But I always use agony because of the why. The minor vulnerability. Obviously. So, we're almost done with this one. Now, as you can see, I need to get more skill points. So, that's what we're doing. My main one I'm working on, though, is this. We did unlock the assault tree. So, I already got my aggressive warhorn. I already leveled that, but I do need to level this up to get my barrier on this platform. I already got my barrier on my other one. And the reason, like I said, the biggest thing about it is just configurations will change based on what you're doing, like who you're with, what content you're trying to do. 4-mans are always whatever, like Blackheart and Eldon. I can do those on vet with this. That's no problem. Eldon, black, white, gold. I always wait until I have orbs or something to do that.
I must finish this.
There it is. Nope, no. Where is it? Black. Tired. Still drinking coffee. Anyways. You also want to get skills leveled. You want to morph things. Take your time. Don't rush it. Like I said, try to get into a 4-man. Get a spell power cure. Get worm. Those are easily accessible even at your lower level. You know, you would just start off there. Then work on, you know, getting your sentinel monster set. You can use sets like Chokethorn until you can get, that monster set, and then move on to having sets like, your Symphony of Blades. That one is really hard to get, especially, if you can get a good team to help you do it, do it. I pugged every one of mine on PC. It was even rough on PC. I probably am not going to try to pug it on this platform. I have a very much more grueling time trying to pug on PlayStation. I think the PC spoiled me in that essence. In some ways, the PC has spoiled me because some players have add-ons, right? So it helps them. So it is what it is. I don't use them. You guys see me stream. I do not on PC. I do not use those add-ons. But it is what it is. But at the same time, I'm grateful because at least I got my Symphony of Blades on my PC. So I will get it on this, but I'll do it with organized people. And then you want to move up. And then when you get into trial scenarios, there's different trial sets. Kind's Kiss is a really amazing set for support healer. The problem with that set, it doesn't really benefit every healing class effectively, because it has to be a major buff or drinking a potion. Necro Wardens pull it off the best, so it is on my Warden. I need to get the new one from Rockgrove, or the one from last year that came out, for that. This healer can pull off the the tank set, Sax heal. Sax. That's the only healer I would put in that set. I would not put another fucking healer in that. I wouldn't even put a tank in that set. I wouldn't. Aggressive Warhorn is much more dominant than Sax heal. Why? 10%. I've said that. I'm like, it's a bait set. It's a bait set. Because they'll say, oh yeah, any skill, or any ulti. But the problem of it is, when you take a look at skills like Aggressive Warhorn, you do get the major force. But look, you're going to get 10% max stats for 30 seconds. Across the board, that is more base damage, thus increasing your critical damage. You're not just needing to increase critical damage modifier. When you increase base damage, you're going to increase all of your damage, your base and your critical. And that's why I'm like, I would not abandon Aggressive Warhorn. But at the same time, of course, you'd want to exploit the capability of getting major vulnerability. No argument there. I don't think there is an argument or a debate about that. If you can find ways to, get those up times, you take them. Now, mind you, I haven't played organized play in some time on that level. And I'm thinking about getting back into it. We'll see. The biggest thing for me, I guess, I just don't like the drama. And I'm always back in PvP. And I hate arguing with people. there's always too many, you know, people who are, you know, trying to lead, and not enough people wanting to actually, you know, whatever. Like I remember in Rift, before I became a guild leader, I was in the guild. Some great guys. Actually, the original guild leaders and I all stayed together when there was the split. Anywho, when I first started, I would just kind of sit back and think, okay, let's see how smart these guys are. And I just didn't say anything. You know, that's kind of me. I just wait around. And all of a sudden they're like, do you have some time? I'm just here tanking. And they're like, oh really? I was like, and then, you know, most of the time that's what I do. I'll sit back. I'll let people try to assume the role. You know, I have no need to whatever. But when they realize I'm not saying anything, I don't have input, well, that was kind of weird. And I was like, whatever. You don't, you know, whatever. But yeah, then afterwards, you know, we all came together and we would coordinate better. The biggest thing is who needs to talk and when they need to talk. DPS doesn't ever really need to talk. Which is very important. Unless they're a spotter. And if you're an organized player, you know what spotters are. The only thing a spotter does is call it whatever. The healer is usually calling out way more than anybody typically. Why? The tanks, you know, your off tank does pickups, right? Your main tank's on boss, but he'll call, like, you know, mechanics, boss mechanic, like, you know, key stuff. And that's what he's supposed to do. But the healer is, you know, the ones who are typically, now that's why I like gave it up to healers. Healers are the ones saying, you know, mechanic and whatever, 3, 2, spotters can do that too, but healers do it. Why? Because they're also throwing their heals or their abilities, saying, hey, okay, we've got this coming down. What chest? I don't see a chest. But, you know, that's what healers do. Oh, sweet, I can decon that ring. Nice. But yeah, so DPS, I think it's funny how in this game DPS rules the roost, because no other game would do that. And you know, you know, it's not about pride. It's just about who's in position. But like I said, I never took the end game in this game that serious. But because other games I was forced to do it, this game I don't feel like I have to. I mean, that's the nice thing. Like, if you don't want to be that type of player, you don't have to be. And you can be, you know, a dungeon junkie. If you want to be a trial player, you can be a trial player. If you want to be a PvPer, you can be a PvPer. If you want to, you know, there's a lot of different ways to do things. If you want to be a crafter, there's people who just play this game for crafting. Believe it or not, but for economics, they're more into the economics of the game, you know, and that's cool. That's their game. That's their game style. Okay, whatever. Me, I like I like providing for people, being able to do any format level. If I have to go in a trial, I'll just do it in a capacity that what's most accessible. Listen, I've always said this to my viewers. I'm never going to give people anything that's unreal. That there's content creators already out there provide a content for people who do that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to give people accessibility to whatever content I do on this web. Okay, there we go. I want to make sure it's in the regular one. Hit it. Oh, come on. Yay. But anyways, whatever you want to do in this game, do it. But just don't have the anticipation of, you know, getting it all done, the first time or something. It takes time. Everything takes time. I hate when they skip those things, man, because they're always... Fuck, see?
There must be another altar.
I need that book. I already got that one book, yeah.
You won't stop me. My prince is coming with an army that will end this war for the old.
What is it?
Death is not the end.
Shut up. Nice.
So, Orneth sold her soul completely.
Completely.
Dalmor will not be happy with this. Bakara, look. Just as you feared, the ritual is complete.
Right.
See how the darkness gathers? Yes. Whatever Orneth unleashed here may be even stronger than she. Prepare yourselves.
What in oblivion was that?
Everybody out! Ornette would undo us all! Mistress Bakara, what are you doing? You must go. No, you must go. Warn the guild. Warn Tamriel. Quickly now!
No!
Bakara can't hold
Someone
this
help
forever!
me! Shayor's beard!
Thank God I got the quest. Every skill point I can get.
You felt the rumbling. I'll get tops. I only know.
Alright. Anyways. Healers. Like, I end up doing healer builds for healers. Specifically, the reason being because I play every healer. I play them all. Even if, whether or not I eventually do trials or I don't, like, the most important thing for a healer at any capacity is understanding how to play the role effectively. That's it. Making sure they play it effectively. Because every healer is slightly different, and you can maximize different scenarios based on the content and who you're grouped up with, what's available, and like a lot of people want to disregard this class in that role, that class in that role, you know, whatever. And in 4-man's, certain classes synergize better well, and certain roles synergize better well. And in 12-man, I've always said the most important thing about it is not putting everybody in the same configuration. Why? I said this years ago. I have the video. Because you want to maximize your group's functionality. Not your functionality, your group's functionality. Because in doing so, your effects become more prominent as well, better. So that's why you put everybody in different configurations. You want as many classes in your team as possible. You don't want 2 Templar healers. It conflicts. You don't want 2 DK tanks. It conflicts. You see what I'm saying? You want, if you have a warden, you want a warden to give you that minor toughness. That little bit of health consistently helps. Right? That's like taking a Necro and saying, hey, don't give us a Necro DPS or anybody. Don't give us major vulnerability. Don't do that. It's the same premise. You don't want to do that. Now, my end game has always been PvP. Not to say that I don't PvE. I do PvE. Just, if I'm not forced to do it or I'm not obligated to do it, then I could care less. I mean, I do whatever to get the base gear, and that's about it. Then I put out the builds. Because why? Because of years of conditioning, I spent years and years and years running the hardest content I could in a game, only to make it mean nothing, and then fighting along the way, arguing along the way. In this game, that's not necessary. It's like, okay, if we can get 12 people together that can be copacetic and progress and get achievements, cool, excellent, awesome. If we got 12 people who have egos and fighting amongst each other, we may get it done, we may not. But at the same time, all we're doing is serving up plates and plates and plates of animosity. That's all we're going to be doing. So, I think but in this game, it's not even that bad. I mean, like I said, you don't have weekly lockouts. You're not even in a trial for 8 hours. You know, well, you shouldn't be. If you're in a trial for 8 hours in any capacity, you might want to, like, debate whether or not what's going on. That's my point. It doesn't take 8 hours to complete any content in this game. If you're having that much problems, then you got to go back to the drawing board. But yeah, so Overall, though, I mean, it is what it is. You know, I play, I get my shit when I want my shit, and I provide it for people. But for the healers out there, for the healers and for the support roles, just note to have, and DPS should too, just note to have different sets available for what content you're going to be playing. That's the important thing. Because if somebody, let's say I go in and a healer's rocking Olorime and we're going to be able to stack, do I want to wear Olorime too? No, I don't. I want to use another set. If I'm using a set like Sax Heal, do I want to run another trial set like Olorime? No, because I'm already getting minor ages, so I might opt for a Spell Power Cure set, or I might opt for Worm, or I might opt for Hollow Fang. You see where I'm going with this? Like, you want to have the sets where they don't conflict with who's running what, and you need to figure out who's running what. Like I said, Sax Heal on this, I will be getting at least the normal version of Sax Heal for this, for the build. You know, for the build. Now, whether or not I get in a progression team or whatever, I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, I stick my nose in some stuff. I'm very accessible, but at the same time, I'm a type of person, like, look, I'm here to get it done. If you guys are, you know, fucking off and you got your egos are getting in the way, or you want to be dumbasses, I ain't got time for this shit. I really just don't. I'm going to be helpful. I'm going to be try to be very proactive and encouraging. But if people want to be dramatic and whatever, I ain't got time for that bullshit. I ain't got time for it. So, you know, live and learn is all I can say. But, you know, healers definitely get accessibility. Don't try to push things. Don't feel, or anybody, take your time, especially if you're new to the game. Take your time. You know, don't think of it as pride, man. Like, back in the day, I never came out with builds that had anything that I felt people felt obligated. Why? Because you can complete content and gradually move up. Right? This game is supposed to challenge you to the next level, not force you to the next level. If you're getting forced to the next level and you're speeding it, you're going to eventually get burnt out. Or you're going to bump into people, and then that's going to be conflicting with what you're trying to accomplish in your progression. That's not worth it either. Like I said, there's times that I go in, I'll go into a vet content, we get to clear, and then people are still whining and bitching about something. I'm like, oh my god, really? Like, we just cleared. Well, I'm like, okay, I ain't got time for this. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this community is making a mountain out of a molehill. And that's what I said. Like, you know, you guys do not understand what suffering is. Hey, try 8 hours with 39 people with limited gear drops. Not everybody's walking out with a piece, not even a piece, and then being locked out for an entire week. It's hell. And then people whine about something here, and I'm like, whoa. And I think the mentality is the toxic nature of online gaming. I think online gaming itself can be toxic, right? Instead of working together, people would rather blame each other when something goes wrong instead of what? You know, trying to approach it from a different perspective. Are we missing something? Was there something that was overlooked? Let's try to do something, you know, minor changes, do something. I remember River of Souls when we got our no death. Because it come with like a ghost mount when you got your no death run in River of Souls and Rift. And the biggest thing is the last boss, there's lasers, right? And then the boss does a mechanic. So if, you know, it's like if the at that particular moment, if you don't position it right at the right place at the right time, and the mechanic fires while the laser mechanics firing at the same time, someone's gonna die. You know, that was the bitch. It was like, oh fuck, you know, if everybody isn't at the exact same spot, or when things are needed to be put in place at that time, even you could clear it 100 times, but if somebody messes up, if two mechanics fire off and people aren't in the right position, somebody dies, and there goes your no death. Right? It's out the window, and we got it. And I was tickled pink because we already got all of our gear out of there. Like, our guild didn't need any gear out of there. We didn't need a fucking piece, right, out of River of Souls. We were in there for feet run. And when I got my ghost mount, that was an accomplishment, because that was a signification that we did it. That we completed that feat. And there was nobody to blame, though, if we didn't get it. We couldn't blame people. It's like you're trying to time it as best as possible and hope for the best. And hopefully, because you know all the mechanics, you have already run it about 1,000 times. You already got all the gear. You don't need anything. You're in there challenging yourself as a group. That's what this game does for you guys. Right? It gives you that. It gives you the chance to complete content, but step it up and challenge yourself. That's a fucked up, ideology. I don't know. But think about it. Challenge yourself. But don't take it out on others. I do that a lot. That's why a lot of times I stay isolated. Because I know I can have narcissistic tendencies. And the best way to be humble and is to finally acknowledge it, and to keep yourself away from people, because you don't want to cause people problems, right? But you want them to do, complete what they need to do. I tell people I'm a certain type of way. I've been conditioned like this, and it is what it is. But at my older age, I don't even want to do it anymore. I don't want that anymore. I don't want the old mystic out. I want to help people. I want to encourage people and have fun. Okay? Anyways, I'll let you guys go. As always, I'm Mysticraven. This is Mystic's MMOs. Peace.